week after the introduction of the new national security law in Hong Kong, Carrie was quick to respond to the international condemnation of the legislation, which has already been used to make arrests. The national security law targets crimes of subversion, secession, terrorism and collusion with foreign forces.
Compared with the national security laws of other countries, it's a rather mild law. Its scope is not as broad as that in other countries and even China.
The National Security Committee, which Lam chairs, has unveiled new powers granted to police. They include raids without a warrant in special circumstances, ordering internet firms and social media to remove content considered a threat to national security, as well as the seizure of their equipment. Failure to comply with the law risks a $13,000 fine and 2 years in jail.
This is completely constitutional, legal and reasonable. I do not understand why certain foreign countries are so keen to comment on this.
But tech giants and social media companies are not convinced. The video sharing app TikTok says it will stop operations in Hong Kong. It's owned by Chinese internet giant ByteDance, but isn't available on the mainland. The company says its app will no longer be available in Hong Kong. And social media platforms including Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Zoom and WhatsApp have also announced they will suspend processing government and police requests for user data.
So I think the worry, or the fear is already spread over Hong Kong about the cyber expression of the freedom here.
I believe the government will take further actions towards these social media platforms. I think I can foresee that we won't be able to use these applications in the future.
The US Secretary of State has described China's new legislation as being an assault on Hong Kong's freedoms and rights. Mike Pompeo likened the censorship to the totalitarian state in George Orwell's famous novel 1984. Some fear the Chinese Communist Party censorship enforced on the mainland is fast coming into effect in the semi-autonomous city. The government has acknowledged that some people in Hong Kong are concerned, but Carrie says it's only been a week since the new law was introduced, and an education program will reassure the people that the legislation protects, not undermines, the city's freedoms. Sarah Clarke, Al Jazeera, Hong Kong.
Well, for the perspective from the US, let's now go to our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett, who's in Washington, D.C. for us. Kimberly, plenty of rapid reaction to all this. What's the latest?
Yeah, well, the U.S. president and his Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, considering a number of punitive actions over the Hong Kong national security law, including potentially banning the social media app TikTok. Now, it has about 30 million users in the United States. And the U.S. Secretary of State says that, like other Chinese technologies, he accuses this application of mass surveillance of Americans' private information.
We've worked on this very issue for a long time, whether it was the problems of having Huawei technology in your infrastructure. We've gone all over the world, and we're making real progress getting that out. We declared ZTE a danger to American national security. We've done all of these things with respect to Chinese apps on people's cell phones. I can assure you the United States will get this one right too, Laura. I don't want to get out in front of the president, but it's something we're looking at.
Now, the U.S. president is considering a number of other punitive actions already on his desk. His legislation was passed in the U.S. Congress. It was on his desk as of late last week. It imposes not only sanctions on individuals as well as Chinese banks, but it has yet to be signed into law. Not clear why the president has not yet signed it. He does have 10 days to do so. But we know that there are other measures that are being discussed as well within the Trump administration, including potentially revoking visas from some Chinese officials, not only because of the Hong Kong security law, but also because of COVID-19, something that the U.S. president has once again on Twitter called in just the last few moments the Chinese virus, something he believes has decimated the U.S. economy.
Kimberly Halkett there, our White House correspondent across all those latest developments. Thank you, Kimberly.